Ladies and gentlemen, it's hate week. The Philadelphia Eagles are sitting at 10-2, coming off an embarrassing loss at home to the San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys right on their heels, sitting at 9-3, coming off the Thursday. Woohoo, that was close win against the Seattle Seahawks. The Shaq Leonard Cold War is over. Aidan and I are here to just do a little preview of the week. This is not our full episode. We will be on other shows. We will have a full episode. We will have a preview show. We're going to do all that. But we are recording this on Monday night, less than 24 hours after the 49ers and the Eagles, just because we have been text messaging back and forth all goddamn day. And we said this needs to go on the airwaves. Aidan, how are you?
I'm a little bit better since the Shaq Leonard signing. Hasn't been the best 24 hours. I'll tell you that much. Feels better that the position that exposed the most yesterday is the position that you addressed 24 hours after. And like you said, the Cold War is over and we won. Got Shaq Leonard. So I'm assuming this makes the Soviet Union, which does check out. The biggest enemies that we have faced as a nation, the Dallas Cowboys and the Soviets.
Mm-hmm. I will say yes. This is how, and I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to come out and be like, didn't want him anyway, washed. No, he would have been a very nice signing for the Dallas Cowboys, right? You and I discussed it. We both agreed that both of our teams could use him. The way I broke it down after is the Cowboys need a linebacker. The Eagles were desperate for one. So I think that was kind of I'm not saying that's the only reason why Shaq signed there. He may have signed there because he had a great visit. He thinks they have a clearer path to a Super Bowl. Could be all of that. It also could be that the Eagles watched their linebackers and they upped their ante on Monday. That's very well possible too. We may never know because the Cowboys aren't going to come out and be like, this is what we offered.
That's true. I talked about this last night when I did my recap show, but I think people were looking at it like it was a recruiting visit for a college kid. Mm-hmm. And if you win the big game, they're like, all right, well, we're going to get this commit because he saw this big game and they won. And people were thinking, okay, Cowboys won, Eagles lost. He could probably go Cowboys, right?
I don't want him on my team if that's his decision.
Agreed. And fair enough. He's not on your team. So there you go. So he's an upstanding man for not choosing the Cowboys is what you're saying.
But I will say yes. You said the linebacking core. Nicholas Moreau gave up 147 yards in receiving yards against him yesterday, and he's a linebacker.
He had a PFF grade of 30. Do you know how hard that is to do?
I think you and I could do that.
We said last week, we were like, if it comes down to it, at this point, it's either Shaq Leonard or Big Dom who's playing linebacker.
And he tried. He tried to get on the field.
It got very close.
Listen,
we almost told that to a T. We said it's going to be Shaq Leonard and Big Dom.
Mm-hmm. They both, and one got his hands on a 49er, the other didn't. All right, we can go here because I was cool with Big Dom last week and all that. And then, dude, you don't need to step up and get involved. Devontae's a big boy. The 49ers and the Eagles, they have players that do this. Don't step up and get involved, okay? And second of all, why does Nick Sirianni need a security guard on the field with him with a little earpiece, Paul Blart mall cop? Why do you need that on your sideline?
Yeah, great point. Why would the head of security step up when there's about to be a fight and security would be needed?
He has nothing to do with players.
He's the player personnel guy. Why did he get Darius Leonard?
Why did he get Darius Leonard
off the plane? He's the team security guard.
He has no right to put his hands on a player on an opposing team.
He takes two guys and separates them. What else are you supposed to do?
He stood up and he pushed Greenlaw forward.
After he suplexed a guy into the ground and caused an obvious fight on the sideline that would have escalated so quickly.
It was an inbounds hit.
Everything that happened between these two teams, you knew exactly where it was going to go after that cheap shot.
Let the players deal with it. You are not a player. You are not a coach. He has no reason at all to even be on the sideline. He's not a coach.
Why not?
Is he a coach?
He is the team security guard. Like, this
Okay.
is not a weird thing. He's
Yes, it
been
is.
around. He was security for Andy Reid. He
Cool.
was security for Doug Peterson.
We
He
need
was
security guard.
security for Nick Sirianni.
Gonna stand on the tunnel. Yep, Nick's coming.
This
Okay.
is
It's
not
Nick Sirianni is not the president. Okay, he doesn't
But
need
you-
the Secret Service.
the fan base's hate for Nick Sirianni is becoming like, oh, he needs a security guard. You weren't saying that when he was the security guard for Doug Peterson. Like, nobody was like, oh,
Okay,
Doug
Peterson
Peterson
didn't need
needs
a security guard. Andy
They
Reid
just
doesn't need a
don't
security
like
guard.
Nick Sirianni because he
And
talks a lot of shit.
I don't like the fact that there's a just Tony Soprano wannabe on the sideline. You know what they are? They're
But you
the
did
epitome
last
of a
week.
17-year-old that puts that little Italian flag sticker on the back of their car with their little visors and their shirts with the Italian flag on there. Get out of here. And I'm Italian.
There's multiple coaches with that. It's not again, this is just like not a weird thing. It's just it is what it is. And I can't believe that in this for other people out of their hate for the Eagles. And this is crazy because you guys get your ass beat by the 49ers all the time. And then their player who has 8 personal foul penalties, 3 fines for, the same personal foul penalties, he's off the hook for suplexing a guy because you don't like the Eagles and their guy stepped in to stop a fight. And then he hit him in the face. Like, if this were you guys, if this were Dre Greenlaw, actually, nobody would have stepped up because every time you play the 49ers, nobody steps up. So there probably wouldn't even have been a fight.
Dre Greenlaw did the exact same thing, but actually suplexed the guy out of bounds against the Cowboys. This play was in bounds.
It's still a penalty.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not, but it was
you knew it was
suplex the guy out of bounds against the Cowboys, and there was no penalty.
Does that make Dre Greenlaw? This again,
No.
like this is the whole point I'm trying to make is Dre Greenlaw is the villain. He is a scumbag who again is in trouble. 8 personal unnecessary reference penalties, 2 ejections, and 3 fines. The 4th one probably soon from Jimmy Kempsey. So that doesn't include the 9th that led to this fight. So he might just be a bad person, and the head of security stepped in to make sure that a scumbag who is constantly a scumbag didn't further be a scumbag and start a fight with the entire sideline, given what was going on between these two teams from January.
You are not an NFL personnel.
Last night.
You are not an NFL. You have no right to touch a player on another team.
You do. Like, how often do you see coaches and players and personnel get involved where they're like, all right, like this, every guy has been involved in a thing. I saw it at Xfinity Live on Saturday. The security guard got in between 2 groups, and he said this. He put his hand on the one guy. He said, "This group, go this way. This group, go this way. I don't want to see you guys near each other for the rest of the time," because they were starting shit. They were about to fight because it's his role as a security guard to step in and make sure a fight doesn't occur.
Wannabe bouncer. He's a wannabe bouncer at Bar A. That's what Big Dom is.
Even better. He's the security guard for the Eagles.
It's just so funny that you have a security guard on the side. Like, no, the Cowboys don't have a security guard sitting on the sideline.
Maybe you should get one.
Players handle it.
Do they?
Yeah.
What have you handled against the 49ers ever?
I'm talking about in situations like that. You don't need a security guard to literally, he involved himself in it. He could have waited a second to see what happened, but that's not his job.
You can't wait to see what happens. You know what's going to happen.
Okay, they're players. Let them handle it.
They can't fight. Like, that's the whole thing. He's trying to stop them from fighting.
But it is not, people are like, well, he got ejected. It was a 1-for-1. No, the 49ers lost one of the best linebackers in the league, and you lost a roly-poly bouncer that just had to go wait in the tunnel with his little earpiece and go, yep, they're coming. Okay, they're coming. Guys, yeah, we really did good. Like, dude, Dom, you're not on the team. Okay, you're not a player. Relax.
In this 1-for-1 scenario, was Dre Greenlaw innocent in what he did?
No, I'm not saying he's innocent, but there's I guarantee you, if Dom didn't step up and push him, no one's getting ejected. That
he's still getting a personal foul penalty.
Okay, he's getting a personal foul. He's not getting ejected from the game.
If you see that video, Greenlaw is still over on the sideline. That penalty happens right away. He goes forward to the sideline. Dom steps in between them, does his little, okay, go away, and then he hits him in the face. Like, I can't,
Okay, all right,
I
can
was
we stop with
honestly
the hit?
shocked.
He literally just brushed his face. He did not punch him.
He tried to hit him.
I also don't
think it was
understand
a
why.
punch.
You know what? The funniest part about the whole thing is they were Greenlaw and Dom both had elbow sleeves on their left hand. Like, okay,
Hell yeah.
Dom, are you shooting threes in the game?
He should be.
Yeah. All right, we can move on from Dom, but I just can't wait till he gets suspended and he's not allowed to travel to Dallas this week. And Nick Sirianni's like, I don't know what to do without my security guard.
You guys better hope that he doesn't get suspended, because it'll just turn into the Michigan Harbaugh thing.
Oh God!
Like, it'll just be, which I hated, by the way, because just like they cheated. That, like, it's not like they treated him like he died. He's like, no, he just cheated multiple times this season. I don't know, but it'll just become that, where he'll just become this cult hero, and he already is. And then he'll come home, and if he's suspended multiple games, and it'll just be free Big Dom chance every single opportunity. Like, there'll be like everything online will just be like, they want it for Big Dom. So like, if I feel like you'd probably like not want him suspended and just keep him out of the storylines, because it'll just turn into like a positive for the Eagles.
Everybody thought that was going to be the change, the turning point yesterday, and 6 straight touchdowns after that. But
they were in the mid. They had already scored 3 in a row.
Yeah, that was bad.
It was very bad.
I will say this.
I should have played linebacker. I thought Morrow was horrible.
If the 49ers stay healthy and play like that, no one's beating them.
I'm not so sure. I thought that was their best. I thought that was the best game that they're. I mean, like, that was their whole point, right? Like, they're so talented, and their fan base has kind of just like ruined it, because we're like, you will always have this chance of redemption, and they got it. And it was just like, you guys couldn't just wait like 9 months. Like, you had to embarrass yourselves for 9 months to get to this moment. But I think they're so talented, and I think the weaponry, like, we didn't even talk about George Kittle, and I thought he had some of the key catches of the first half, and he was like the 4th most important weapon that they had yesterday on offense, right? Jawan Jennings had 3 third-down conversions.
Yep.
He's not even he wasn't even your top wide receiver asset, right? Like, they had so many different weapons. Now, another Eagles thing, and I don't know if we want to do Zach Ertz, because I feel like he'll probably be following suit with Leonard, and he'll be on the team. But the Eagles got 0 receptions from the tight end position yesterday. 0. We just talked about linebacker, gave up 140 yards. So Slay gives up 3 receptions for 32 yards. Bradbury, ironically, after all that, wasn't targeted 1 time, 0 receptions. So there's just like certain things you got exposed in your weakest areas, but I think you can improve those weakest areas with Goddard coming back, or it's possibly Shaq Leonard. So I think you got your 49ers best game. I think the Cowboys are playing better than they were when they played the 49ers. I don't think this is cut and dry. They're the best team in the league.
As we're saying this is pretty funny. NBC Sports is on my TV, and they are doing Fletcher Cox, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith are up for the Toyota Player of the Week. Can we just not do a Player of the Week this week?
Yeah, I think we might want to skip that one.
Skip it a little bit.
Devontae played well. I'll give it to Devontae. He played well.
I do think it's 49ers, Gap, Eagles, and then whoever else you want to filter in there. Not the biggest gap in the world, just a 42 to 19 gap.
You know what's crazy? There's nobody in the AFC. Like, you could make a case right now: 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, all of them to make the Super Bowl, and you'd have to throw the Chiefs in there because it's Mahomes.
And I would put the Lions in there, maybe even over anybody in the AFC.
Their defense is just
but so is the Eagles, and so can the Cowboys.
The Eagles, though, like, no, like, the Lions have lost at home and gave up 30 plus to the Packers. They gave up 28 to Derek Carr and the Saints. This defense is legitimately bad. Yep. The Eagles were bad yesterday, but if you go back and look, like, they shut down the Dolphins, they shut down the Chiefs. They have had big moments this year. The Rams, who are now a playoff team, they shut them down.
Cowboys beat the Rams. They are now 500. I would say they're there, but they're not, 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles. No. I watch this Chiefs team and I'm just like, that offense is nothing for me.
It's
nothing.
bad. It's really bad.
Like,
I think if there's some free agent wide receivers this offseason. You got to be like, this is your dream. Like, if you're T. Higgins, you got
oh
to be
my,
like, wow, this is my opportunity.
I'm in, and they're
Yeah.
going to pay.
Yeah. They'll pay you. You'll be the wide receiver one. You'll get as many targets as you want. Who are you competing with? It was very ironic that Valdez-Scantling ended up in the same position last night, but just flat out got tackled before he had a chance to catch the ball. What a chaotic last 2
Poor guy.
minutes.
I know. I
It
was like,
was,
it was one of those where I was like falling asleep in and out too. I'm like, no, got to stay up, like fighting
yeah.
it. Got to see this.
It kept you up because of like how chaotic it was. It
Yep.
was fun.
Yep.
But at the same time, it was the refs were so bad that it actually made it interesting. And I know everyone was getting on them today, and I was like, that game became more fun because of how bad that they were. So I know it's not the best thing in the world,
Yep.
for the refs to be
Yep.
terrible, but I think it made the game more fun.
And I will say across the board, offense is tough to watch in this league right now. Like
Yeah.
those 1:00 games yesterday, it's just
Horrible.
hard to watch.
As a
I mean,
fantasy
Jets,
football.
Falcons, the Steelers, like the Browns with Joe Flacco. Like it's just this is the year to pounce if you are a good team.
It's bad. And I don't know if it's the change of defensive schematics that are doing it, but wow. And then part of it, like there's quarterbacks that are out and there's been injuries and stuff like that. For instance, the Bengals are a great example. That's a great offense if Joe Burrow's there. He's not. But man, you're right. There's some bad offenses. It's not even fun to watch in a league that's
No.
almost always fun to watch. That's why like people get on the Eagles offense. And I have some complaints, but I don't have that many compared to what you see around the league.
No. I will say as well, heading into this game, Aidan, you and I called it last week on the show. It's now, I mean, Purdy's up there too, but I mean, Dak jumped Mahomes in most sports books. They're very close, if not tied at the top now. And this is just going to be headlines after headlines heading into Sunday Night Football. After, last season, them never facing each other till this last game, it being down to the wire. And now the teams only being one game apart, heading to a Sunday night matchup that, could figure out the division, even though I still believe that the Eagles have obviously the upper hand and the inside track.
It's that we talked about it last week, but the Heisman moment
Mm-hmm.
that you need for an MVP case, if you win this game and it's a shootout like it was last Christmas Eve, you skyrocket to the top, because then you'll have not only the stats to prove it, but the wins to prove it too. Because the winner of this game, I know there's still a pretty obvious and clear path for the Eagles to win the division, even if they lose this game, but it still, it pretty much locks it away for them if they win. The Cowboys are in a great place if they win. So it's the stats and the wins both back it up at that point. So it makes sense that he skyrocketed to the top. And I think Brock Purdy's number one elsewhere.
Yep.
But regardless, like you'll see Dak or Jalen Hurts probably overtake that again if whoever wins this game on Sunday night.
And I would argue that this game Sunday night for the Eagles is more important to them in terms of the 1 seed than the division, because now you have, I think they have a better chance to win the division than they do the 1 seed now, just strictly because the 49ers have that tiebreaker over them. And even if they tie, the Niners will get the 1 seed. So I think this game is more important in terms of that than the division, because even if they lose this game, the Cowboys still have to go back-to-back weeks against the Bills and Miami on the road. I don't think they're sweeping that. I really don't. So they'll still have that inside track to the division.
Agreed on both fronts. I think both the 49ers and the Cowboys would have to be perfect. The Eagles would also have to be perfect too, but I know the schedule gets a little bit lighter towards the end with the Giants and the Cardinals and stuff like that. But it's a little bit tougher for those two teams. The 49ers still have the Ravens. They still have the Rams, who will probably be playing for a playoff spot in week 18. And you just mentioned the Cowboys schedule. So you are right that it would be tougher for the Eagles to get the 1 seed if they lose this game, and the path is more direct for the division. But there's still some places for all of us to trip up. And that's kind of why I'm not like, I think yesterday was more of just like a pride thing. They're still in a great place in the standings. It was more of just like, it's been a while since we got our ass kicked like that.
Yep. And it was more of everything from last year, and the talking and the fan. Like, if you lost to the Seahawks, I don't think people are talking about it as much today, right? It's the buildup. It's been since the off season. It was well, if Purdy didn't get hurt, like, it's just, there's so many storylines from that game and between these two teams that it just built everything up even more.
Yeah. Hyping up any like big rematch like that will always get play. And in that rematch, you played terrible.
Yep.
I just thought there was a total lack of focus. I think I felt emotionally drained. There was a point in the third quarter where I was like, I need something from my Costco taco kit. Like, I just need a quick taco break. I'm spent. I'm hungry. I'm tired. Like, I'm spent. Like, I've spent like 4 weeks hanging on every second half series, just being like, all right, we can't give up a score. We can't give up a first down. We have to put points up at the board here. To the point that by the third quarter yesterday, I was just spent. Like, I had nothing left. I was like, I just need a taco right now.
Yeah, I mean, they know how to intimidate too, man. I mean, even the little things of walking through your DB warm-ups, they did the same thing against Dallas with the kickers, and they just know how to get under your skin. But
they are a great team at just being annoying as hell, right? Like, they're just annoying. I think they do a lot of annoying stuff. Do I think that the Eagles were intimidated because they went through the DB drills? No, but I don't.
It's just a psychological warfare.
But so you'd think that, but then the Eagles came out and the 49ers ran 6 plays in the fourth quarter and had -6 yards. So it wasn't like they're like, oh, we're terrified. It was just more of, they just flat out executed them and exposed every single hole that we thought that the Eagles might have, and they took advantage of it. So
that's even worse. Like,
yeah,
they had no points in the first quarter and they scored 42.
They had -6 yards after the first quarter and ended up with 450. So they had 456 in 3 quarters. That's hard to do. It was bad.
It is. But the week is here. Cowboys, Eagles, Sunday night.
I've got one more thing about Cowboys, Eagles, and about this game.
Give me it.
You and other Cowboys fans, what the hell? I know this isn't who I think it is, participating in the trash talk of the downfall of the Eagles at the hands of the 49ers. Hold on. Why are you guys participating in the trash talk about this?
Not participating. Just watching.
No. Cowboys Twitter, were they engaged in trash talking the Eagles because they lost, yes or no? And flaming them. Yeah, because
the same thing happened when we got blown out by the 49ers.
The 49ers haven't ended our season back-to-back years and then beat the piss out of us this year.
But like, we're not saying that they haven't. Like, I tweeted the first time emoji, like, so.
Yours is different. I think other people in the fan base need to answer to the fact that they're trash talking. And from an optics point of view, I would say this: if we win on Sunday, what's the first thing that's going to happen? What's the first thing that's going to get searched? It's the tweets from last week. They're like, you were talking all this shit. You got your ass beat by the 49ers and you lost the Eagles twice. Like, that'll be the first thing that pops up. I was a little shocked, and it's some people that we know, and a little frustrated. People can take shots. It's the league of full trash talk, but I'm like, we're not throwing stones in a glass house. We are throwing boulders into the house.
It's all about impressions, baby.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think a lot of it has to do with that, because some people we know, if you talk to them and then you see their Twitter profile, it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I hope. I was throwing more stones at Dom than anybody else on Twitter, but, that's just me.
Okay, fair enough. I did see that, and you did tweet just like first time? Like, that was an obvious, like, joke at both of our expenses.
Yeah,
I think there were a lot of people in Cowboys Twitter who had a lot of jokes at our expense and none of yours, considering how the past few years have ended, how this year has gone, I would probably bookmark those until Sunday at 11:30, and then if the Cowboys win, unload the clip. I'd probably wait and give it a week.
People can't wait these days. No one's patient, right? Nobody has to wait anymore for blockbuster movies. That's on demand.
Listen, I don't want to see Ohio State fans cheering and jumping up and down and trash talking if Michigan loses to Alabama. Your season ended because of them 3 straight years in a row. You lost them 3 straight years. I don't want to see you. I felt the same way on Sunday. I got on Twitter and I was like, well, I feel like our fan base is going to be ugly. And I'm like, why are you talking? Why are you talking? Why are you talking? I'm on the Bird vs. Boys thing because we did the live stream and I'm like, who? This person has something to say. Really?
Mm-hmm. That's why I just, you know me, I'm more the one, if I'm, in that situation, you have to make fun of yourself while you're trash talking. If you're not, then that's a problem.
I feel like maybe that's why I was surprised, because I think we both fall into that where I'm usually making fun of myself.
But I did see one tweet from an Eagles fan that was like, at least we scored 9 more points than you. It's like, just stop.
No,
you got blown out too.
Another thing. Eagles fans who were like, oh, well, the 49ers treated this like their Super Bowl. Yeah. You knew this was for 10 months. Like, yeah,
and
they did.
So was the Chiefs game for the Eagles. It's what you do.
I just didn't get that. Like, they were like saying that in a disparaging way. Oh, the 49ers were going to treat this like their Super Bowl. You knew that for 10 months. We should have matched that energy and matched that focus, and we didn't. Mm-hmm. This isn't like, you shouldn't trash talk them and be like, oh, well, they played harder because they wanted to get us back. Yeah, they did. That's sports. That's the whole point of competition. We knew that going in. Why wasn't anyone prepared for that?
We were talking about it all week.
Mm-hmm.
Got to tune in. I will say, very disappointed. My last point here in Shaq Leonard not coming on here and announcing where he was going with us. This was the perfect opportunity, perfect spot. But hey, I guess you give it to Adam Schefter.
Fine. He gets everything. He can still come on the show if he wants to. Come on.
Talk us through the decision.
Yeah. We'll sit him down in a boys and girls club like LeBron. What went into it?
Perfect. Let's talk.
There we go.
But we will be having full episodes this week. We will be hopping on other shows. Make sure you hop on our Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod, for all the updates, where we're going to be, when things are going to be dropping, and make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, we are there: Apple, Google, Spotify, and TikTok as well. It's hate week. It's fun. And when we started this podcast 3 or 4 years ago, both of our teams were in the cellar, and now they are fighting for the division at the top, fighting for the number 1 seed, fighting for the MVP at quarterback. This is why we created this podcast. This is what it's all about. It's time to shut up and play the goddamn game. Well, on Sunday. We're not going to shut up in between. We're going to talk a lot, and then we'll shut up on Sunday.
We just started talking. We have a lot. We will eventually shut up, but it might be a while.
We're going to keep talking for now. So enjoy the ride this week. Please interact wherever you find our videos or our streams, because that's what makes it fun. Like Aidan said last night, Cowboys fans were chirping them. I was chirping them. It makes it fun. That's what this is all about. Be nice to a point. That's all I'm going to say.
Like Dom, just try to de-escalate the situation. Sometimes you can't help it if another guy is going to swing on you, but try to be nice and try to de-escalate. Let's have a great week together. Like you said, very thankful for this week. Birds vs. Boys. This was the entire point of the show when we started this. So it's really exciting to be in this position. I can't wait. Definitely licking the wounds, but excited to get back out there for Sunday. Should be a great game. Should be a great time and great atmosphere for all of us.
Paul Blart, Dom Soprano. We'll see you on Sunday.
Free Dom.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink
bleach.
That is the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.